Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, in this one, we're going to be diving into the Aurthur Melo situation. Now, according to reports in Italy, that is according to Dario Pele, Arsenal have agreed a deal to formulate the Aurthur Melo deal as an obligation. We're going to be diving into that. We'll also dive into the other rumors around Aurthur Melo that Arsenal want a swap deal between Lucas Torreira and Aurthur Melo for Juve. We'll talk about that and how true are these rumors, and exactly why are we being used as a smokescreen by Italian media and Italian teams as they look for market for their clubs. Because for me, this is using Arsenal as a target. It is really pissing me off. But hit the like button for me, subscribe to the podcast as well, and tell me how much do you rate Aurthur Melo as a player? Because it looks like in the central midfield market, Arsenal are interested in 3 players now. It's either Paqueta or Tielemans or Aurthur Melo. Those 3, one of them will be our next central midfielder. I'm not really sure if Arsenal will get into that is Aurthur Melo and Yuri Tielemans. But at the moment, Dario Pele says Arsenal interested very much in Aurthur Melo. Let's hit the like button, and also let's subscribe to the podcast as well. So let's start off with this one. Now, according to Dario Pele, Arsenal have agreed to formulate the transfer of Aurthur Melo as a loan deal with an obligation to buy. That is the latest. That is the latest tweet that has actually come out on a pile of information and a pile of tweets regarding Aurthur Melo to Arsenal. But just to travel a little bit back in time and try to find where exactly are these transfer rumors coming from. A couple of hours ago, it was reported that Arsenal and Juventus are very open to a player plus cash deal, or what you would call a swap deal between Lucas Torreira and Aurthur Melo. So that means Lucas Torreira would cross over and go to Juve, and then Aurthur Melo would cross over and come to Arsenal. Now, if it is a plain swap deal, that actually makes a lot of sense, and I'll be very welcome and very happy to that kind of deal, because Lucas Torreira is one of the few midfielders that we understand is not part of Mikel Arteta's plans, and it doesn't even feature anywhere in the future of this football club, and also in the future of the project that Mikel is trying to build. So Lucas Torreira moving to Italy is one of the dreams he has ever had. He wants to play in Italy. He's had a very good time there. Remember, we signed him from Italy. He's been back there on loan with Fiorentina, and now going back to Juventus. In my opinion, that would be a dream come true. That would be coming from Fiorentina and then making that kind of huge jump for Lucas Torreira. And also at the moment, Arsenal, we have to agree, we are struggling to keep Lucas Torreira, or to get a deal for Lucas Torreira to find a buyer. Yes, he has agreed a deal with Gennaro Gattuso. Is it at Villarreal? It's at Valencia, isn't it? So they've agreed with Valencia. Gennaro Gattuso wants him as a priority signing, but at the moment there is no agreement between Valencia and Arsenal Football Club. So if we can find an agreement as time rushes, if we can find an agreement between us and Juve for Lucas Torreira and Aurthur Melo, that actually makes a lot of sense. But what I don't understand here is, if it is going to be a player plus cash deal, who has to add some money on top? Do we add money on top of Lucas Torreira, or do Juventus add money on top of Aurthur Melo? Because in my opinion, if I were to sell Lucas Torreira to Juve, it would be around 20 million euros. If I were to buy Aurthur Melo at the moment from Juve, it would be around 20 million euros. So, but what is being suggested here is a player plus cash deal that Arsenal would have to give them Lucas Torreira and add on some money to get Aurthur Melo. That is where I'm debunking this one. I don't think Arsenal give Lucas Torreira to Juve and add some money. That would be cheating. That would be absolutely cheating. We are giving them a quality midfielder. Yes, they are giving us a quality midfielder as well. And I'm not trying to compare the two, but I'm looking at 2 midfielders that are very young, 2 midfielders that can create a massive impact wherever they go. Aurthur Melo can create a massive impact at Arsenal. He's the kind of player we are actually we are actually looking for is the kind of midfielder Arsenal want. A central midfielder, one that can play as an 8 and as a 10. One can do the ball distribution when there's the very, very technically gifted on the ball and things like that. But I don't think we have to pay more as we give them Lucas Torreira. It would be absolutely cheating. So I think that one doesn't make any sense. Yes, Juve want Lucas Torreira, but I think it would be better they come with an official proposal to Arsenal and say, we are paying this much for Lucas Torreira. Do you sell or do you not sell at that fee? And Arsenal will have to decide sooner or later. Because, I mean, clubs are offering us less than 15 million euros in Lucas Torreira. Can you imagine? Can you think about that? It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. Torreira is a 20 million euro valuation, in my opinion. So, apart from the player plus cash deal, it was also said that Arsenal, that Juventus would be very, very okay to let Aurthur Melo go on a season-long loan deal, provided the contract and the contract had a clause of an obligation to buy. Now that makes a lot of sense. Juve always do this kind of deals, and that is how they buy their players. They've done it with Dejan Kulusevski, with Spurs. So they're very, very open to that kind of structure, right? And I think it was the same structure that Arsenal had proposed in January, and then they refuted it. They actually rejected it, right? So the obligation to buy, that one is open. But I'm going to ask myself, how can we agree a deal for Aurthur Melo to come into Arsenal? Yes, it is a loan deal with an obligation to buy, without making any any sales, without making any outgoings. Remember, we have been led to believe, we've been convinced that Yuri Tielemans' deal depends on outgoings. So the next central midfielder, the next signings Arsenal will make depend on the number of outgoings and how fast we can get players out of the door. So right now, you cannot come and tell us Arsenal have agreed a deal for Aurthur Melo. They're bringing in Aurthur Melo without any outgoings. This deal does not have any difference with the Yuri Tielemans deal, because I don't think Arsenal want to get outgoings out of the door fast because they don't have the money to pay for Yuri Tielemans. No. We want to balance our business, right? We brought in a couple of incomings without selling, which has been absolutely phenomenal. Now it is time to touch on the outgoings, deal with them, and after dealing with them, we'll bring in the last few names that we have on the priority list, that we have on the transfer list. So I doubt Arsenal will agree a deal for Aurthur Melo at the moment in that midfield, with Lucas Torreira still around, with Ainsley Maitland-Niles still around, with the likes of Victor Bellerin still around. These players will have to fast move on. They will have to fast go, and then Arsenal will probably eventually we will agree a deal for a central midfielder, either Aurthur Melo or Lucas Paqueta or Yuri Tielemans. So for me, these two stories are being concocted by the Italian media. Now listen to me. I think the Italian media have found a very, very suitable and a very, very nice smokescreen in Arsenal. Let's go back to last summer. Manuel Locatelli. We were interested in Manuel Locatelli genuinely, and Juve were interested in Manuel Locatelli genuinely. But Sassuolo and the Italian media used the opportunity that Arsenal were interested. They used our presence to get Juventus to pay as much money as they wanted. We all know the truth that Manuel Locatelli, or Locatelli, I don't even know how you pronounce that. We all know the truth that he was never signing for Arsenal. We all know that. Sassuolo's priority, is it Canavelli? His priority was always to sell to Juve. They wanted to sell to Juve. And Manuel Locatelli, as well as an Italian player, his dream was playing for Juventus, right? But they used Arsenal as a smokescreen just to make sure that, Juve succumb into paying huge amounts of money on that deal, so that Juve can up their offer. So that is one. Number two, Lautaro Martinez. we were interested in Lautaro Martinez last summer, genuinely, more than genuinely, and we even went on to make a bid and make a move for us, for the player to Inter Milan. Inter decided they were not going to sell Lautaro after selling Romelu Lukaku to Chelsea, so they decided they would sell one and keep one. But the agent of the player again used Arsenal's situation. They used us in trying to get a lucrative deal with Inter Milan. So literally, they used Arsenal as a scare. We are being used as a scare, though. If you do not give him a big deal, if you do not give him a huge deal, I'm taking him to Arsenal. He knew he was never going to bring him to Arsenal because the player said, we do not have enough confidence in the Mikel Arteta project, and we do not have enough faith in your project at the moment. But they used Arsenal's name to get a fancy contract, a beautiful contract from Inter Milan. That is the second scenario. I mean, I could keep on mentioning, but let's come back to January. Dusan Vlahovic. Now, let's be honest. If Juventus were the only club running at Dusan Vlahovic, they were only going to pay around 50 million euros across like 3 years, because for them, they're good at that. So what Fiorentina did, they made Arsenal and Arsenal fans look like you are the priority. You're the priority in this deal. You will get it done. It's just a matter of a matter of time for you to agree with Dusan Vlahovic, and the agent and the player will be yours. Stories flying around across the media, across the Italian media, that Arsenal had agreed personal terms, that Arsenal had agreed a deal with Dusan Vlahovic. The truth is, we were very far away from completing that deal. That is the truth. The Italian media never, 100% never give you the truth when a story is when a story has Juventus involved. They will never give you a true story. They will never. So they used Arsenal's name as the leading contender, as the club leading the race, as the priority, as the highest bidder, as the richest club in the race. And where did it end? Did Arsenal never had 75 million euros for the player, to pay for the player? We had. Arsenal never had the salary to pay Dusan Vlahovic. We had. What happened? What happened at the end of the day? Fiorentina looked at this and they said, Sassuolo did this. They used Arsenal in the Manuel Locatelli deal, and they got good money. In this one, we are using Arsenal to get the highest we can out of Dusan Vlahovic from Juventus, and it happened. So this Aurthur Melo deal, this is the Italian media concocting stories, trying to sell Aurthur Melo from Juve. The truth is that the player has no future at Juventus. Yes, we were interested, and this is the last genuine story I would ever think of on earth at the moment. The Arsenal have agreed to that fucking obligation. It's the worst deal. I don't think we have. And I don't think Aurthur Melo will be an Arsenal player next season. I don't see it happen. I really don't see it happen. So it is the Italian media coupled with the Italian clubs, trying to raise the offer and cause, attraction to these players. That is what they're trying to do. They're trying to market Aurthur Melo. And by saying Arsenal want him, probably a certain Spurs, probably a certain Manchester United will come in and throw money at the table. Good luck with that one. I hope Arsenal do not even get close to it, because Italian media, I'm just fed up of them. I just hate them. They just keep on lying and lying and lying. Those stories are absolutely bogus.